So in our last video you were expanding. Now we're going to do the exact opposite. It's been expanded and we want to put it back into one logarithm. So here's what you do. You first look at that you don't want any numbers in front. If they are in front, you're going to make them an exponent. And then you only want one logarithm. So if we look at this first example, I'm looking for numbers in front of log. Here I have a 2 in front of this one, so I'm going to take that 2 and make it an exponent. And that's about it. So let's start there. So we have a log of 6 plus log of 2 squared minus log of 3. And then I'm going to go back to the rules with the plusing and minusing. If there is a plus, then I'm going to take what's inside and multiply them. If there's a minus, then I'm going to take what's on top and divide. So here we go. Let's just do the first two. We have log of 6 times 2 squared. And that'll be minus log of 3. And then the next part can be sometimes confusing for people. When we do that minus, when we take that minus sign and do the dividing, you're just going to take what's inside divided by what's inside. There's not going to be any extra logarithms. So we'll have log of 6 times 2 squared over 3. Okay, so we did our division, and now it's just a matter of simplifying. 3 goes into 6 twice. So now we have log of 2 times, and then 2 squared is 4, and so we get log of 8. And we have one logarithm and no numbers in front, so we're done with that one. Now if I go to the next one, so then on the next one I see I have a 2 in front. I'm going to bring that up into the exponent, and I have a 5, and I'm going to bring that up in the exponent. So now I have log of 3, 7 squared minus log base 3 x to the 5th. Now 7 squared is 49, so of course I can put a 49 there instead. And then with that minus means I need to divide what's inside. So I have log base 3 of 49 over x to the 5th. Notice the only thing that's being divided by x to the 5th is the 49. This is just a log in front with 49 over x to the 5th. And then there's nothing else we can do there, so that's going to be our answer. Now if you remember in the last video we talked about minus signs, and if there's a minus sign it means that number is going to go on the bottom. So if there's a minus sign, that number is going to go on the bottom. But before I do that I had better get rid of my numbers in front. I have a 2 that needs to go up, and I have a 3 that needs to go up. So now I have log base 8 of x squared minus log base 8 of 5 minus log base 8 of y cubed. Now again, with the minus sign, that means it's going to go on the bottom. So I have log base 8 x squared over 5 goes on the bottom because there's a minus sign in front of the 5. And then y cubed is also going to go on the bottom because there's a minus sign in front of y cubed. So there would be your condensed version. So besides condensing, we also want to be able to change the base. So if you remember me talking about calculators, you cannot use just anything on the calculator. You can only use base 10 and base e. And so what if you need to find this out as a decimal? So if you look, we have an example of log base 4 of 8. I actually have to find that out as a decimal. And so what we can do is we can change it to a base that we can use on a calculator. So if you remember, we can use base 10. So I'm going to change this to base 10. So what I'm going to do is it's going to be a log on top and a log on bottom, and I'm going to use log base 10. So you can write the 10, you don't have to. I'll write it just for emphasis. And then what you do, if you look at the formula here, the formula says when you have log base c of u, then what you're going to have is you're going to have the new base, and then you're going to have the u on top and the c on bottom. So this u is on the inside of this logarithm, and the base of c is now becomes the number inside the logarithm. And so what you do on our problem, it'll be log base 10 of 8 on top, and then see how the base on the log is 4, then it'll be log base 10 of 4 on bottom. So the 4 is no longer the base, it's inside the logarithm. And now what you can do is you can plug this in the calculator, and let me just do that real quick. Log, log, log. There it is. So I get 0.903, and then log base 10 of 4, we get 0.602. And we can take and divide. Oops. So we have 8 divided by 4 gives me, I should get 1.5. Should be your answer then on the calculator if you plug that in. And you should practice that, of course. You did not have to use log base 10. You could have gone natural log of 8 over the natural log of 4, and you should still get 1.5 on your calculator. Now the reason I got 1.5 was because I didn't round. I actually used the numbers in the calculator as they were. This 0.903 and the 0.602, those are rounded numbers. Try not to use rounded numbers if you can help it, because if you did use rounded numbers, that 1.5 is no longer a 1.5, you'd have to round. So then for log base 6 of 15, you can rewrite that as log of 15 over log of 6. This is actually a pretty simple formula. And then you just plug that in your calculator. So log of 15 divided by log of 6 equals 1.511. And the way I remember that too is if I were to draw a line here, the 15 is above the line, so that goes in the top one, and the 6 is below the line, so that goes in the bottom one.